I'll never forget that sound. That scream, raw, piercing, like something tearing straight through my soul. It was my wife, Emily, 6 months pregnant, screaming from the driveway as smoke rose from her skin. That morning burned itself into me literally. I can still smell the acid. We'd moved into Maple Ridge just 3 months before. The place looked perfect. White fences, neat lawns, neighbors who waved just enough to seem polite. Emily said it felt like the American dream. I wasn't so sure. I'd noticed the signs early: the clipboard woman who watched everything, the one who always smiled like she owned the street. Karen Walsh, HOA president. Blonde bob pastel sweaters, sunglasses even on cloudy days. The kind of person who wrote friendly reminders about mailbox colors and trash bin placement. At first I laughed it off. Every neighborhood has a Karen, right? But her obsession grew fast. Notes on our door rules printed like Bible verses. Your grass exceeds regulation length. Your car disturbs the peace. One night she knocked at 10 p.m. just to say our porch light was offensively bright. Emily tried to stay kind, but I could feel her hands trembling after each encounter. Then the comments started. The keeping our standards high remarks. The way she'd say those people when talking about us. Emily's half black, I'm white. We were one of 2 interracial couples on the block. Suddenly her smiles made sense. They were never friendly. They were warnings. I tried to ignore her, tried to pretend we could coexist. Until that morning. It was a Saturday in late August, hot and sticky. I was in the kitchen making pancakes. Emily went outside to water the roses she planted for our baby girl Grace. She wanted to name her. I heard the scream before the glass shattered. I ran out barefoot. Emily was on the ground, her hands pressed to her face, the skin already blistering. The smell hit me, next chemical suffocating. A broken bottle rolled by her feet, and across the street, standing perfectly still, was Karen. Arms folded, wearing her damn gardening gloves. She didn't even flinch, just watched. I poured water on Emily, screaming for help. No one came. Curtains moved, faces peeked out. No one stepped outside. The ambulance finally arrived. The paramedics lifted her onto the stretcher as she kept whispering, "Is the baby okay? Is the baby okay?" At the hospital they said she was lucky to be alive. 30% burns. They couldn't promise anything about the baby. I sat there staring at her bandaged face, feeling like I'd failed at everything that mattered. Then Detective Harris showed up, steady voice, tired eyes, probably seen it all. He asked me what happened. I told him everything. The harassment, the notes, the bleach smell I'd noticed on Karen's porch last week. When he asked, "Did you see her throw it?" I froze. I hadn't. I only saw her standing there watching. He sighed, said they'd need evidence. They searched Karen's place that afternoon. Her yard looked immaculate, of course. Behind the shed they found an empty jug labeled sulfuric acid. She claimed it was for cleaning drains. Her security footage from that morning accidentally deleted. Convenient. Emily was still in surgery when they let her go. Karen smiled at me from across the street like she'd already won. Such a tragedy, she said loud enough for the cops to hear. Some people just don't belong here. That line cut deeper than the acid. The next few days blurred. Hospital halls, antiseptic smell, the hum of machines. I barely slept. I couldn't stop replaying it. If I'd gone outside sooner, if I'd called the police earlier, maybe Emily wouldn't be like this. Maybe my child wouldn't be fighting to survive. I started to doubt myself. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe Karen didn't mean no. No, I'd seen her face. That smirk wasn't confusion, it was satisfaction. Still, doubt eats you alive. Days turned to weeks. Karen walked free. HOA meetings continued like nothing happened. The neighborhood stayed silent, afraid, complicit both. Even I wanted to leave, just vanish. Then 2 days later my phone rang. Detective Harris again. We might have something, he said. At the station a teenager sat slumped in a chair, hoodie, nervous hands. His name was Lucas. Lived 3 houses down. I didn't want to say anything, he mumbled, but I saw her. My heart stopped. She was standing near your driveway holding a bottle. I thought it was weed killer or something, but then she threw it and ran. I wanted to hug that kid, but he looked terrified. If she finds out I told you, she'll come after us, he said. She watches everybody. It took hours, but he agreed to testify with his mom's permission. That night the police came back with a warrant. Red and blue lights painted her perfect lawn. She came out yelling, "You can't do this, I run this neighborhood." But the power in her voice was gone. For once, Karen Walsh didn't sound like a leader, she sounded scared. They arrested her for attempted murder. When I told Emily, she just whispered for our baby. For the first time since the attack, I felt a flicker of hope. But I underestimated how far Karen would go to protect her image. The trial became a spectacle. Reporters everywhere. HOA president charged in acid attack. It was surreal watching our private nightmare become headline news. Karen walked into court in a gray suit, calm as ever. She looked like she was attending a board meeting, not facing 40 years in prison. The prosecutor laid everything out. The harassment, the acid jug, the deleted footage, Lucas's statement. When he described Emily's burns, some jurors turned away. Then her defense lawyer started spinning stories. Karen Walsh is a community leader, he said. She only wanted to maintain standards. This young couple, new to the neighborhood, misunderstood her intentions. Standards. That word again. It made my fists clench. Emily testified next. She was fragile but strong voice, trembling only at first. She described the pain, the smell, the terror. She said the hardest part wasn't the acid, it was knowing someone did it on purpose. When she finished, the room was silent. Even Karen wouldn't meet her eyes. Then Lucas took the stand. The defense tried to tear him apart. "You're mistaken, aren't you? You didn't see clearly, did you?" But that kid held his ground. "I saw her do it," he said. Firm, steady. And then came Detective Harris. Forensics had managed to recover fragments of Karen's deleted footage. On the big screen, the jury saw it, Karen walking toward our driveway minutes before the attack, carrying something in her gloved hand. Karen's calm cracked. She shouted, "That doesn't prove anything." The judge warned her to control herself. That was the moment everyone saw who she really was, not a misunderstood leader, but a bitter, cruel woman hiding behind HOA rules. After closing arguments, the jury deliberated for 7 hours. Felt like 7 years. When they came back, I could barely breathe. "Guilty," the foreman said, "on all counts." Karen went pale. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. A few weeks later, the sentencing. The courtroom was packed. Neighbors, cameras, strangers. The judge read every charge, slowly attempted: murder, aggravated assault, destruction of evidence. Then he looked her in the eye. "This was not an act of passion," he said. "It was premeditated, fueled by prejudice, and executed with cruelty." Her lawyer begged for leniency. The judge didn't budge. "For the crime of attempted murder and related charges, this court sentences you to 40 years in state prison without parole for the first 25. Gasps filled the room. Karen collapsed into her chair. For the first time, she looked small, powerless, human. The guards took her away. I didn't feel triumph. Not really. Just quiet. Emily squeezed my hand. Tears ran down her cheeks. That was it. The fight was over. Outside, reporters swarmed us. Microphones everywhere. They asked how we felt, what justice meant. Emily just said, "We forgive her. Not for her, for us." I didn't speak. I didn't need to. Because in that silence, I finally understood sometimes justice isn't about winning. It's about surviving long enough to see the truth burn brighter than the hate that tried to destroy you.